Hi Aries, welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot. Welcome to your reading for August. What an amazing month for you guys. Honestly, the cards that I pulled is kind of a very specific story. So I'm going to take a couple minutes to talk about these transits because this energy is probably not going to apply to a lot of you. It will for some. It will kind of fit. Don't force anything. But let's talk about the planets and what they're doing this month. The first thing to understand is that all of our outer planets this month are retrograde. We have the second full moon in Aquarius, your 11th house, and a new moon in your 5th house. So, big emphasis on the Leo Aquarius axis of your chart, 5th, 11th house. Let's talk about that. The 5th house is our passion. It's our light. It's our fun. It's our creativity. In a lot of ways, it talks about our children. It talks about our sex, our enjoyment, dancing, laughing, fun, humor, all the good stuff in life. And it's really important for us to tune into that, okay? That's a very therapeutic place in our chart and an area where we could really start to express ourselves. Now, healthy expression of our heart is good, and it's going to help when we have Virgo in the 6th house, all of this emphasis in Virgo, Venus in Virgo, Mars in Virgo. And that's going to kind of take on this other energy, which is like mastery, mastering our day-to-day activities, our schedules, our work, our health. And there's going to be a feeling throughout the month of like, how do I do all of this? How do I enjoy the good parts of life, but yet stay responsible and dependable? How do I eat the ice cream, but still maintain this diet? And we could really go back and forth, like really indecisive energy here between kind of what's more important. And really, they're both equally important. So eat the ice cream, but do the exercise, okay? It's important to have that balance this month. The cool thing about this month, especially with the 11th house, oh, you have a visitor, Aries. Especially with the energy this month in your 11th house, is that there could be some real breakthroughs. But of course, because we have 2 full moons, there's also some things that are kind of coming to an end in this area. And the 11th house rules our friendships, our communities, and there could just be places where we feel like we just don't belong anymore. And there could be new things showing up, new paths, new passions. So maybe there's like a group that you belong to and you decide you don't really want to invest money or time into that anymore, but maybe there's like a cool Pilates class or something that you want to do. We expect the change-ups, expect the adjustments this month, and kind of really allow yourself to go with the flow, to be inspired by the universe, okay? It's a really cool place to be inspired and allow things to sort of unfold. What we don't want to do is try to control stuff, because the full moons in your 11th house is just going to simply show you you're not in control. And really, the more you relinquish the control, the more the universe can kind of bring you some pretty cool surprises, especially when you have Uranus going retrograde in your 2nd house. Big surprises. So it's a time to really let go and enjoy, and yet maintain a level of mental health and physical health as well. What I do want to tell you is you are also hosting Chiron and Aries, both retrograde, which is kind of probably making this stuff feel a little bit heavier than it should. By all means, we should totally, like, Leo season should be fun. But because we have all these planets in retrograde, there's probably some stuff that's going to trigger some wounds as well. This is where you're going to get triggered to control situations instead of just letting them unfold, right? We want to dictate the outcome because our ego wants to be safe, and there's really no room for that this month. So for all the signs across the board, and definitely for you, there's going to be moments where you probably have to humble yourself, moments where you realize that I can't change this situation, I can't change this person, I can't force something to go in a certain direction. And understand that these things are happening for you, not to you, right? We always say it's not happening to you, it's because this is just simply not what's meant to be, or not how you're supposed to experience it. That doesn't mean that that thing is not of value. And that's a big part of your reading, is we might have to dig a little bit deeper and take a look at things and see how they're really of value. Maybe in not the traditional aspect, but in the way that you allow them to inspire you to make the changes. Okay? Big month, guys. It's a really fun one. So I'm going to put the camera down and let's go ahead and take a look at these cards. See you in a sec. Okay, Aries, let's get into these cards here. So you are coming out as a Queen of Wands this month, which does not surprise me at all, right? Like you're in Aries, we're starting out the month in Leo season. There's a lot of fire in our sky, right? And like I described, not only is there fire and inspiration, but there's also this Virgo energy, which means we could take the inspiration and turn it into something very real, okay? But it's not all going to unfold in the very beginning of August. In fact, most likely the things that we're working on, the things that we truly want and desire, aren't going to entirely unfold. Like, we're not even going to start to really see these things culminate until September, October, November. And I know I've been saying that for a couple months. I know it's felt like, oh, come on already. But with all of these planets in retrograde, you can expect the internal work needs to be done first. We have this Queen of Wands, which tells me that you're in this high level of inspiration, okay? She's got this cat on her lap. She's kind of holding this spark in her hand. She has this wand of creation, full creative mode, right? Leo season, your 5th house. And my Aries are going to be really motivated by joy, by love, even by sex, by, you know, the desires that we have. And she can be a real bulldozer. She's going to want things, and she's going to want them right now. Especially because you have this Chariot card coming out. This is your environment. So here you are creating the things that you love, and there is a path unfolding before you. But the thing about the Chariot is this path requires an immense amount of balance. There is an acceptance with the Chariot. You know, it's kind of like the yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine energy, that thing that goes out and gets the things that we desire, and also that part of us that just attracts those things to us. Okay? And if and when you can get this part of you in complete and utter balance this month, you can make tremendous strides forward. But we can't be stuck in any situations that kind of really bring our vibration down. Now I'm looking here at this 5 of Wands and this Death card. Right? Underneath the 5 of Wands, we have nothing is yet set in stone, mutable moon. And I think that's what this 5 of Wands is about. This is kind of the unknowing and what the unknowing does to our ego. Now, for those of you that are starting new relationships, this is like that really uncomfortable early point. Like, are we still seeing other people? You know, like, we don't really know. And when we're in that place, we kind of have 2 options, right? Like, here's your 2 options, the Chariot. These are your 2 options. You could see and allow things to develop naturally, or you can kind of try to control them. And the 5 of Wands is always like big ego battles. Maybe you're dating somebody who's kind of also casually dating somebody else, and this is kind of that thing that like really irks you, this thing that like drives you nuts. Because the 5 of Wands, I'm picking up specifically on kind of like this jealousy and insecurity. Now, maybe this person isn't dating anybody, but maybe their time is not as available as you'd like it to be, whatever it is, right? Now, remember, Aries, you've got Chiron and Eris, both stationed retrograde in your sign, which means there's wounds coming to the surface. Things are being triggered within us, and they're in order for us to transmute the pain. And this is an opportunity to transmute the uncomfortableness, okay? If something isn't going in our direction because, like, here it's not set in stone, if somebody hasn't, like, promised or made a commitment, if that job offer hasn't, like, come in writing, or you're in scenarios where you're really unsure, even like somebody like selling a house and you're kind of looking online and you're seeing all the other houses that are up for sale and you're like, oh, but these houses are better than mine. Mine's not going to sell. Because the Five of Wands is where we let doubt creep in. We really can't allow that because we're in Queen of Wands, and Queen of Wands is nothing but confident, right? It's Leo season. It's about our inner confidence. It's about letting our light shine. It doesn't really matter what other people think anyways. We're just going to express ourselves. We're going to say the things, right? Mercury moving through Leo. We're going to make the requests. We're probably going to make the demands. In fact, Aries can come out a little bit demanding this month. It's got to be this way or no way at all. But I think when we start to operate in this behavior, we're going to see it, right? The Death card, we're going to transmute it. Because we know that here is actually like self-sabotage mode. This is damaging us, okay? This is even like scrolling through social media and looking at other pictures and you like really like down on yourself. Like, other people have more, other people have better jobs, other people have better spouses, their family life is perfect, blah, blah, blah. And it starts to like really point out where we need to make the changes. And the changes aren't necessarily like needing the better partner or losing the weight or looking better. Like, that's never the answer. The answer is about self-acceptance. Here we have the Star card. And it's about moving towards scenarios and things that don't get you in this Five of Wands place. Probably a good idea, Aries, if there's anything in your life that's making you feel less than, if there's any kind of comparative stuff coming up for you now, probably a really good time to avoid those triggers. Avoid going through that social media. Avoid becoming agitated this month. See, you're not operating at your best when you are agitated. Because nothing's set in stone, because there's no guarantees, this is really going to trigger you. It's going to trigger your ego. Well, what do I do if this person doesn't choose me? What do I do if I don't get this job? And we can get closed off and we can get obsessive, or we can like really just dig our heels in and have a hard time creating the opportunities if this thing doesn't work out. See, because I think there's something you have your eyes set on that seems to be like this be all, end all, has to happen thing. And I see Aries as being all in, right? The Fool, the Chariot, the Queen of Wands. There's clearly like something you want to partake in, something you want to commit to, something you just really want to jump all in. I really want to take this big vacation. I really want to sell this house. I really want to buy a new car. I really want to start this new relationship. You are all in. But the other people may not be quite yet. Now, what I love is the transition of the energy. So we have this Death card, and then immediately we have this Ace of Wands. Beautiful, beautiful. And here we have the Amazonian. I've been so drawn to this card lately. I am interconnected with the world in an intimate way. I am vital. I can find a way to co-create rather than confront. Boom. This is you letting all those ego triggers go. We don't need to confront anybody. We don't need to fight anybody. We don't have to beg for somebody's attention. We don't have to beg for that job. We don't have to beg for that form of security. It just simply belongs to us. And if things aren't going to go our way, then they don't belong to us. The Death card. Now what I love, what I've been so drawn to this card is looking at this snake. And he's not like coiled really tight around this branch, right? Like he's not holding on for dear life. And this is a transmutation. This is where you kind of say, well, what's meant to be will be. And this is a reminder that if there's something that's meant for you, Aries, something that's really truly a part of your path and your destiny, there's really nothing you could do to mess it up. There's nothing you could say. There's no demand you can make that's going to make that thing suddenly not work for you. So this is a reminder to have faith. It also seems to be coming to an end of a branch, which means I think you're kind of at the end of your rope, sort of say. And I like the way the snake is sticking his head out, kind of looking for the next thing maybe. And I think this Knight of Wands is depicting the next thing. There's clearly an old way of life coming to an end. This has been a clear message for every sign for all of these readings, like this old way of life that's starting to die, this old way of thinking, this need for control. And suddenly we're all kind of like, whatever happens, happens. Now, what also really stands out to me, I am interconnected with the world in an intimate way. And we have this death card, 8th house, Pluto stuff, and we have this Ace of Wands, and you're coming out with all this fire. And for some reason, this might really be like, honestly, a sexual kind of revelation. I think for some of you, it's about loosening up the restraints. The truth of the matter is some things can come into your life and they could wake up this huge desire within you. They could wake up this part of you that maybe has been dormant for quite some time. Maybe you have a sexual experience or sexual encounter with somebody, and for the first time you feel like really safe, really open, really, you kind of let go of all the shame and the fear that comes with that level of intimacy. And you can have that experience, and also you could know that it's probably not something that's meant to be permanent. You may want to make it permanent. I mean, this could definitely be the feeling of really falling in love. But it's definitely more of a inspirational physical aspect for you. And I think right now, in August, that's kind of really what this is meant to do. Because there's some sort of a liberation, right? Like the Chariot, there's some sort of a liberation that we're gaining. There's definitely something that happens within this scenario that wakes you up. And it actually starts to create healing. And I love this because we've got the Star card here, and then we have the Sun here, card number 6, which is, the Sun. Now we have an emphasis of 2 full moons in Aquarius in your 11th house. And we've got the Sun here. We've got the Star card, and I just feel as if there is an element of being seen. Okay. We could have this really great sexual experience. Like we could have almost like a Kundalini awakening. There's like some kind of an awakening deep within you, Aries. It actually brings a really deep level of healing. And when it does, is it creates this atmosphere of acceptance, radical acceptance, of who you are and your idea of belonging, okay? Aquarius, 11th house, puts a little bit of emphasis on where we kind of belong. There's an element of destiny. There's dreams coming true. There's lucky breaks. There's new meetings. There's elements that come in to heal you. And because it's a number 6, and we have a number 6 here, you know, it is divinely guided at the least. This is all very divinely guided. This is all like your path to your destiny. And this card came out with it, which is card number 5, to make equal the equator. So we have like this explosive desire, this sexual energy, this real ego energy that we transmute into the sexual energy, and then it turns into this healing. But here's where things get sticky. We're going to have this experience and we're immediately going to want it to stay forever, right? Because this feels amazing. You know, if you've met a new partner, this person brings out a whole different side of you that you maybe weren't even aware of. And this person is probably healing some wounds deep inside of you, right? Chiron and your sign going retrograde, like it's stimulating this inner healing so that you can accept who you are. This woman is naked. And she knows the kind of power that comes with vulnerability. And she's also pouring water out, meaning she's pouring energy into a wish or a dream fulfillment. And because the sun is here, it's something that you feel would bring like this light and happiness into your life. Like, oh my God, if I could just have this thing forever, if I could turn this experience into a solid relationship or an everyday practice, or, you know, if I can somehow constrain it and make it mine. But this is also sort of like putting the sun in a box where it doesn't belong. I'm not saying that this thing isn't going to become concrete. I'm not saying that this thing isn't going to take on the form of permanence in the months to come. But it won't in August, and it's because there's a level of healing that's occurring within you. We have to equal these sides out, okay? The desire and the need for security. What our heart wants, what our libido wants, what our bank account wants. Do we want to have life-changing sexual revolution type of scenarios, or do we want somebody that's just stable and helps to pay the bills and reliable and loyal? Look, nobody's going to look down on a 10 of Pentacles that holds its value as well. I think this 10 of Pentacles is kind of what holds you back. Because you're going to want to turn this thing into a 10 of Pentacles. It's kind of like breaking a wild horse, right? We've got the Chariot. We've got these wild horses. This is not an energy you can rein in. This is just an energy that you experience and you are grateful for. There are miracles that are occurring here. Even if it's not something that's forever. But the obstacle, right? The mountain represents the obstacle. This is like that stagnant side of ourselves. I don't want to say stagnant because, you know, it's like I said, the 10 of Pentacles is valuable. It's real. It's something that you can rely on. It's something in the physical, and it's something that lasts forever. And there's that part of us that really wants that too. Maybe for some of you, you're kind of in both scenarios, right? Like maybe for some of you, you're entrepreneurs and you have like this really big passion, this big creative project, this thing you do, this hobby, and you love doing it. It opens you up creatively. It opens you up to healing. And maybe even there's something that starts to happen where you become known for this, right? You become known for this thing that you do. You're starting to get recognition, because the star can always bring recognition. Now here we've got the star, we've got the sun. Like, this is definitely about being in the light. But something here's got to give. Something's got to balance. There seems to be like two different directions that you can move in. Like the Chariot's going this way, the Fool's going this way. So you have to balance the expectations. This thing is probably never going to look like that full-time 9-to-5 steady paycheck job. This is a risk. The Fool is a risk. The Ten of Pentacles, the Mountain, that's a reward. But it's also very heavy. Like, you can't move a mountain. These are the expectations you put on it. Like, this is not of value unless it brings me this. And that cannot and will not be true ever. It's the reason why, workaholics struggle, because they realize that they've given up so much of their life. They've given up their passion and their joy and their time with their family and the people they love, because they've been so busy building this mountain that is immovable. And it's time to get a little bit more fluid. It's time to equal out our life. It's time to have the joy with the dependability. For some of you, this could really just be integrating both parts into your relationship. For you, some of you may be realizing that there's sexual needs that have to be addressed, right? You just need more. Look, Leo sees in 5th house. You're going to want that. And if you are with somebody who's kind of a little bit more unadventurous, not willing to take the risks with you, you're going to really start to question where you're at, who you're with, and what you want in your future. And I love, love, love that we get the Hermit card, because to me, this is like your inner guru. This is you listening to your higher self. This is you trusting the universe, trusting what you're seeing. It also indicates that you're on the right path. And it also indicates that it's probably okay to ask for both things. Right now, the Hermit is going in the direction of the Fool, which tells me that there's something new, probably. This is like that passion. And right now, it might feel like it's never going to be this Ten of Pentacles thing, because it's not what it's supposed to be. Aries, I'm so sorry we got cut off. This is actually my 3rd time recording the end of this video, so I'm going to try my best to do it again with the same kind of emotion behind it, but So I was talking about the Hermit card here, and about how, to me, the Hermit card can always and will always symbolize our ability to go within. That's our inner guru. And see, you're learning so much. Like, this passion, it's like this inspiration, this muse that comes into your life and shakes you up and wakes you up in all different kinds of ways. And usually those things that come into our lives like that really aren't meant to last forever or stick around forever, because they'll never hold that value, right? There's been a big emphasis for me this month on what is and isn't sustainable. And this fire, although productive, although moving, it's definitely getting you on a path. It's probably not sustainable. It's a muse. And here we have This Horseman, Herald of Change with the Hermit. This is a card number 3. And I'm so drawn to these horses in your reading. Like this horse, we've got the 2 horses here. We've got a horse in the Death card. An indication that the universe is inviting you to move forward. But it's not moving forward in any way in which you are weighed down. Okay? Now we have the Fool card here and the Hermit card here. And these are kind of like the opposites, you know? This is like very little baggage, very youthful, willing to jump in and take a risk. Like the Fool is always willing to go all in. But the Hermit implies wisdom from experience, the ability to look at things in the right kind of perspective. And the truth of the matter is, this scenario feels so amazing because of the freedom, because of how it makes you feel free, right? It's not sustainable long term. It's not to say that the scenario or the person that you're dealing with isn't sustainable long term. But the way that things are right now is not. And it also requires a lot of freedom. You might be dealing with somebody who travels a lot or is just not like really available all the time. When they come into your life, it's amazing. But it is what it is. And I don't think this is a horse that you necessarily want to break. There's so much about light and spirit here. Like the Sun card, the Star card, there's so much illumination and light. And I don't think that anything should be dimmed at this point. I don't think that your light should be dimmed. I don't think that you should turn your attraction to this down. I don't think you should limit it in any way. But I also don't think that you should allow it, or you should set limits on it. There might be a part of you that's questioning, like, do I continue in this arena? Do I continue with this thing that feels so great if it's not offering me something solid? And the answer is yes. Now, I know that sounds kind of weird. That's probably not the normal advice that I would give, right? But the thing is, that's not what this was about to begin with. This thing was getting you to see yourself, to see your value, to see you in a very different, more passionate and wild and abandoned way. Because it's going to make you look at these 10 of Pentacles situations differently. For some of you, you might come to appreciate that 10 of Pentacles a little bit more. And for some of you, you will realize that that 10 of Pentacles way of life is dimming your light. And being a Queen of Wands with the environment of a Chariot, I don't think you're going to choose to dim your light for much longer. And we'll come up here to the Fool card. We've got the Fool card and the 6 of Cups. And this is really childlike energy. This is kind of like being in that fantasy. This is, you could kind of put this person or this thing up on a pedestal. You could start to like fantasize about like commitment and marriage and making this like a committed thing, a solid thing. And the Fool card does indicate that you're probably ready to invest, to jump in, to take the risk. And you're definitely in an element of expressing yourself, absolutely. But if I were you, I would tame the demands down a little bit. I would tame the expectations down a little bit, because oftentimes what happens when we get into the 6 of Cups place of like really believing like, oh my God, this person is my soulmate, right? we create these expectations. Well, obviously, this is going to happen next, and then this, and then we'll be committed, and then we'll be engaged in a year, and then we'll move in together. You know, like blah, 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 blah. This is like where we make this big, gigantic plan. And Uranus going retrograde in your 5th house, Capricorn, or I'm sorry, I like slipped into another reading. But Uranus going retrograde, right? Aries, your 2nd house. This is really not a time to like put your money on the table. This is not a time to make a physical investment. The scenario and the environment is going to change rapidly. Chariot, this experience is putting you in a place of power so that when and if the path does open, it's an easy, smooth ride. But until then, you're probably going to want this thing to go in a certain way, and it's not going to go, and it's going to cause this 4 of Cups thing. And this is a really dangerous place. This is one of my least favorite cards, 4 of Cups. Because you're not seeing things for what they truly are. You're seeing things for what they're lacking. Well, I love this experience, but it lacks commitment. It makes me question my self-respect and my, am I in a safe place? There's no guarantees. Truth of the matter is it's a gift. It's a gift from the universe. This whole experience is a gift. You're not supposed to be looking at all the things that this isn't going to give you. Because if you stay in that and you're not grateful for the experience exactly the way it is, that's when you start to lose balance. 2 of Cups in reverse. Look, this thing is delicate. This whole scenario is very delicate. The more you try to grasp on or make it into something solid and committed, the more it's going to feel like it's slipping away. The more attention you put on the things that aren't working out, the things that aren't necessarily going your way, the more separation you're going to cause. It's going to cause you to lower your vibration. This person, they're not going to be able to connect with you on this vibration. They connect with you on this vibration. This is a vibration of confidence, of enjoying the moment. This is the part of us that wants and needs and demands and requires all of these things. And that's not what this experience is about. Now, I can't tell you, and I don't think you're supposed to know how this goes. Because clearly the story is not over, right? It's in limbo. You're in limbo. If I had to pick a place to be in limbo, this would be it. This unknowing feels amazing if you allow it. This is something that comes into your life like an absolute wildfire, and it burns down all of your limitations, and it clears this path, and it may not stay forever, but its changes are changing you forever. This is a story about a beautiful muse that comes into your life and gets you to appreciate what it's really all about anyways. It's a really beautiful, powerful reading, Aries. I do wish you a beautiful month of August. I love you guys so much. And I will be talking to you again soon. All right, take care, guys.